Okay, so first of all, we need a bootable media. So bootable media may be a pen drive or a CD drive or a DVD. So where you will keep all the Linux installation file, and from where Linux will be installed in your PC or laptop. So for that we have to make a bootable flash drive or CD drive. So today I will demonstrate how to make a bootable Linux pen drive using a software called Rufus. So I am going to share my screen. My screen is visible, I think. Hello?
Yes, sir. It's
Yes,
visible.
yes, screen is visible. Yes, screen is visible. Yeah, please
Yeah.
carry.
So for making a mutable pen drive, there are several softwares available in the internet. So one of them is called Rufus, which is very popular and very simple. So you can get it from the Rufus website. It's only 1.5 MB. So this is a software called Rufus. So whenever you put your pen drive in your PC, it will automatically detect the pen drive. So this is my pen drive. It is showing here. The second option is you have to download the Ubuntu ISO file. So you can download it from the Ubuntu homepage, or you can also download it from our IITG repository. So it's free. You can download it from anywhere. There is no issue of piracy or anything else. Linux is free. You can download it from the Ubuntu website, the ISO file. So first point is you have to select the file, ISO file. So here is my ISO file, Ubuntu 16.0401. Yes, I have selected this version of Windows for installation. Then the important part is here, you have to select MBR or GPT. GPT, that is Guide Partition Table, MBR Master Boot Record. These are two protocols for file system in different operating systems. So nowadays most of the PCs, laptops use GPT. So if you are not sure that whether your PC is using GPT or MBR, you can check that by just going through the computer settings. So for that, you can type here computer management. So in the search box, you just type computer management, open the app. Okay. So here you will see disk management. Choose disk management. Here it will show your hard drive. Whether you are using a hard drive or a SSD, it will show everything here. So you just click on the hard drive icon, click properties, then go to volume. It will show master boot record or GPT. So this is my PC. My PC is MBR, but the PC where we are going to install Linux is GPT. Okay. So we have to make the bootable device in GPT format, because the PC which we are going to use for Linux installation is in GPT. My PC is MBR. So this point is very important. GPT or MBR, before you create the bootable disk, you just check your PC whether it is GPT or MBR, then only you create the bootable media. Okay. So everything is done. We just selected the ISO file, put the GPT, and then you have to just click start. You have nothing to do with the other option. Leave it as default. You can click start. So a pop-up message will come. So you write in ISO mode, that is the recommended. So you follow this one only. All the data will be erased. That is fine. So it will take some time, around 5 to 8 minutes. It will take some time to create the bootable media from which we are going to install the Linux. That is the first part. The second, when we are going to install Linux, we need some free space in the hard disk. Free space means some space in the hard disk which is not assigned to the Windows system. Suppose you have a 500 GB hard disk all of the 500 GB is assigned to Windows system. You may be using only 100 or 200 GB or 300 GB may be free, but that is not usable for Linux. Linux need partition row space in the hard disk that is not assigned to the Windows system. So if you, I'll show you. So here in my PC, you can see there are different logical and physical drives are there. So there is no free space. First, we have to get some free space which is not assigned to Windows operating system. There is row space in the hard disk or SSD, whatever you use. So for that, we have to again go to that disk management system, computer management. You can go it from the setting or control panel also. So here it is under storage, disk management is there. Everything is shown here. I have several drives C, E, F, D. Okay. So there is no free space where I can install Linux. Free space in the sense that you can say that this is 153 GB. I have used only few. 144 GB is free, but in this 144 GB you cannot install Linux because all this 153 GB is assigned to Windows. So we have to get free space which is not assigned to any of the operating system. So for that, what we can do here, okay, in the meantime it is ready. So it is so ready, that means it is done. The bootable disk is done. You can close and take out the pen drive. Okay. So what you can do here, there's two options. One is you can simply delete a volume. So my D drive is 97 GB. So I can simply delete
Sir, sir,
this
sir,
entire. Yes, sir.
sir, that ISO file should be stored in pen drive or in like in computer, sir.
What?
That Ubuntu ISO file should be stored in pen drive.
Yeah.
That should be stored in pen drive or that should be stored in like in our PC.
No. You have to download the ISO file from Ubuntu website.
Then I should store in that pen drive like.
Then you have to open the Rufus. I have shown you the software now, Rufus. It is free software. So this one you have to download. So whenever you plug pen drive, it will automatically detect your pen drive. Then you have to select this ISO image, and wherever it is saved from there, you have to select it. Okay.
Okay.
And important part is GPT and MBR. I have shown you. Okay. So we have already got the bootable disk. Now second part is we need some space for Linux, because in my PC all the hard disk is dedicated for Windows system. So we need some space which is not dedicated to Windows system. For that we have two options. What we can do, we can simply delete a volume. Suppose my D drive is 97 GB. If I delete it, whole 97 GB will be free, and this 97 GB is not assigned to any of the operating system. It is a raw space, so we can use it for Linux. That is one option. Another option is, if you don't want to delete the entire data, shrink volume. So this is the original size, 97 GB. So it is showing a round figure, 100 GB. Size available, shrink space in MB. So it will shrink 80 GB of space, and after that my D drive will become around 19 GB. So I can adjust. Suppose I put here 40, so my D drive will become 50 GB and I will get 49 GB of free space, which is not assigned to Windows system, which I can use for Linux installation. So I assume that most of you are using Windows system, Windows 10 in your laptops and PCs, and this is the scenario I think I assume most of the cases. Okay. So there are two options are there. So now I am going to show you in the other PC exactly how it is done. I'll stop the screen sharing for a moment. Yeah. So here, you can go to the computer management. Yeah. Go to the computer management app. So see, on this laptop I am going to install the Linux system. So first you have to check whether it is GPT or MBR. So you click on the basic disk 0, that means the whole hard disk. Go to properties, click volume, and you will see this is GPT. So whenever you are going to make a bootable, first check whether it is GPT or MBR, then only you create the bootable device accordingly. Okay. So now is this screen is clear to you? It is visible well?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there are two drives D and E. Both are almost free as they are assigned as logical drives to the Windows 10 system. So what we can do, we can simply delete one partition E. That means it is 97.5 GB. We will get 97.5 GB for the Linux installation. That is one. And another way is you can shrink. So what you can do, you can simply delete and get 97 GB for your Linux installation. Or if you don't want to give so much space to the Linux system, you can shrink. So I'll show you the shrinking process because deleting is very easy. And if you want to delete a partition, whatever data you have in this partition, you have to take a backup before that. Before all the data will go if you delete it. So you can go to shrink volume. Then see here it is showing 96.87 GB. Okay, so after shrinking, this 96 GB space will become only 3 GB. But we don't need so much space for Linux, and we want to give some space to the Windows also. So what we can do, we can put a 5 or a 4. So after shrinking, this device E, which was previously 97 GB, will become 46 GB, and we will get 53 GB for Linux. So just click shrink. Okay. Now after shrinking, you got this 45.7 GB unallocated. That is, it is not allocated to anything, not to any operating system. It is totally free, totally raw. So this space we can use for Linux installation. So for
How much space do we need for Linux?
yes,
How much space do we need?
for Ubuntu Linux, I am using the 16.0 for desktop version. Minimum requirement is 10 GB.
Okay, sir.
Minimum.
So, and
Okay.
suppose I shrink about like if I put like 20 GB unallocated,
Yeah.
so of that 10 GB will be occupied by Ubuntu, and what will happen to the rest 10? Can I use it for other things?
Yeah. No, I didn't get your point. What you said?
So suppose I unallocate 20 GB of my drive,
Okay.
then when I install Linux, that will take about 10 GB, right? So that still leaves
Yeah.
10 GB unallocated. Sorry, I can't hear
So
you.
just take around 10 GB.
Yes, sir. So
So other 10 GB you can
so
install
that
other
leaves 10 GB.
files. For that you also need. See, Windows system also needs around 5 GB only. Okay.
Okay.
Windows 10. But we have today had 1 TB, 2 TB hard disk. Windows will run on a 10 GB hard disk also. But we need to store other files, media files, all these things. For that we need space. So Linux will take around 8 to 10 GB. Other space reserved for other Linux tools, files. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have here 45 GB for our Linux. So now what I will do, I will plug in the pen drive to the system. Yeah. Now I will restart. Okay. So just as I restart the computer, when it's reboot, okay, there are F1, F2, like up to F12, there are 12 buttons on the top of your keyboard. So when you press the F12 button during the rebooting, it will take you to a boot screen where you can choose from where you want to boot your PC. You want to boot your PC from the network or from your hard disk or from SSD or from your pen drive, etc. etc. So what I will do, I will I'll simply restart. As soon as it reboots, just press the F12 key. F12, yeah. Now it will show the boot menu. Yeah, see, the first one is Windows Boot Manager, then the hard disk, then the pen drive, then the LAN. So we want to boot it from the bootable pen drive where Linux is stored. So just press the up and down key, up and down key. This USB HDD, that means the pen drive where Linux is installed as a bootable device. Okay, so just press enter. Select the pen drive and press enter. So now this window has come. You see, try Ubuntu without installing. Install Ubuntu OEM install. Check disk for defects. So it's just simply select the top window. Install Ubuntu. Is this screen is visible clearly? Students?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. My camera is not very good. Okay. So you choose install Ubuntu. Press enter. So it's starting. Yeah. So now we have the first screen here. So first you will choose the language English by default. English. Continue. Then if you want to connect the internet before installing, you can do that, or you can skip that also. It is detecting the IITG Wi-Fi connection. So for the time being, I will ignore it. Continue. You can do it later also. So you can install some third-party softwares also, or you can install those third-party software after the completion of the Linux system. So now I am leaving this one. Continue. Yeah. So now several options have come up. The first one is install Ubuntu alongside Windows Boot Manager. So if you choose this action, it will install the Linux system along with your existing Windows system, and both the system will run parallelly without disturbing any other. Okay. So you can, this is the best option to choose, install Ubuntu alongside Windows Boot Manager, or you can go to something else. So if you go to something else, there you have to manually partition the hard disk. So there is a risk that you mistakenly delete the Windows file system, it will get corrupted. Then you have to install the Windows again, then Linux. So best way is to so the best way is to go with the install Ubuntu alongside boot manager. So every time the computer starts, you can choose which operating system you want to log into. So this is the best option. So I am going with that. So now install now. So it will create the partition. So in Linux, the file systems are different from Windows. In Windows, we use FAT32 or NTFS file system. So in Linux, it is ext3 and ext4. Most of the time, it is ext4. So one partition will be the root partition, and another is the swap. This is the default partition. Okay. So now continue. So now it is writing all the changes to the disk. You have to choose the time zone. Continue. Keyboard layout, English US. Then you can type your name, CC Lab. You can give a password. So this is the username, root username. Then this is the password. Okay. Continue. So now the process will run, and at the very end, after the installation is complete, it will show a message that installation is complete. You have to restart your computer. So it will take some time. So in the meantime, what I will do, I will show you the other process. So in this process, what you do, you install Ubuntu along with your Windows system in your laptop, in your hard disk. That means your hard disk is broadly divided into two parts. One for your Windows, one for your Ubuntu. Whenever you boot the computer, a message will come which operating system you want to log in, Windows or Ubuntu. You can choose one and log in. Okay. So another method is that you do not have to install Linux in your system. You can use Linux within the Windows environment using some tools. So again, I am going to share my screen. So there is a tool called VirtualBox. So this tool is called Oracle VirtualBox Manager. It is free. You can download it from the Oracle website. It is totally free. You can download it and you can install it. Very simple, straightforward. So I am not showing that installation and download process. So after installing it, we can install Ubuntu virtually. So what we have to do here, this is the interface. I have already created one Ubuntu system within this, so I am going to create a new one from the scratch. First of all, you have to create the new. After installing the VirtualBox Manager, download it from the Oracle site, install it, very simple. Create new. Okay. Here you have to give a name. Say Linux demo. I give any name you can give. So I give Linux demo. This is the default folder where it will install everything. And then you have to choose your Linux distribution. There are several Linux distributions. There Debian, Fedora, OpenSUSE, Oracle, Mandriva. So I'm using Ubuntu because it is most widely used and popular. Okay. So here you will choose Ubuntu 64-bit. What type of Linux you are using? You are using Ubuntu Linux, that is 64-bit. Okay. Then you go to next. Now you have to assign some virtual memory. This virtual memory is nothing but RAM. So my computer has 16 GB of RAM. So for this virtual machine I am creating, I will give 1 GB is sufficient, but I will give 2048. That is 2 GB of RAM for this virtual machine. Okay. Next. Now you have to create a virtual hard disk. That is, the recommended size of the hard disk is 10 GB. So a folder will be created in your hard disk of 10 GB, and this folder will be recognized by the virtual machine as a hard disk, virtual hard disk. So within your hard disk, you create a folder of 10 GB or 15 GB, and this virtual box will consider that folder as a virtual hard disk, just as we are using the physical hard disk or SSD. So create a virtual disk now, 10 GB minimum. So you click create, then another pop-up window will come, hard disk file type. So VDI, VSB, VMDK, there are several. So these are nothing but protocols to create this virtual disk. So all these protocols will do the same thing. There are different protocols. This VDI is proprietary to the Oracle system. So this is the safest to use, VDI. So I am choosing VDI, virtual disk image. Next, dynamically and fixed size. Suppose we have given 10 GB, so if we put fixed size, so after the virtual disk uses all the 10 GB, it will not function properly, because after 10 GB it cannot use any more space. Okay, so that is fixed. And if you keep dynamic allocation, so if the 10 GB is exhausted and the virtual box needed some more space, it can use some more space and add it to its virtual disk space. So it is better to keep dynamically allocated. These are the few points you have to remember. Choose VDI, then dynamically allocated. Next, here it is 10 GB. You can increase also. So I will keep it as 10 GB. Okay, and this is where it is going to keep this folder VDI format. It will be regarded as a virtual hard disk. Okay. So
Sir,
10
can I
GB.
change the folder, sir? Like
Yes.
my C drive is full, sir. Can I store in D drive, like any other drive?
Yeah. You
Like
can
I'm
do.
asking, can we change the path? Like,
See, this is the default one. You can go to
yeah,
the folder icon on the right side. You can click and you can choose some other file also. Okay,
yeah, sir.
that's not a problem. Wherever you have free space, you can do that. Okay. So after that, you click create. So now Linux demo, this virtual machine is created. So in the meantime, you can you are seeing the in the meantime you can see that here it is installation is complete. You need to restart your computer. Okay. So you click restart. It will restart and give you a menu where you can select Windows or save. It will come like this. So if you choose the first option, it will go to the Ubuntu, and if you choose the third option, that is Windows Boot Manager, it will go to the pre-installed Windows 10 system. So every time you reboot your PC, this boot menu will come up and you can choose what operating system you are going to use. Okay, so you can Ubuntu. So let it be there. So I will continue with the virtual box thing. So now we have created a virtual machine. This is Linux demo. So how will you do the installation in this virtual process? So you have to click start. Now select startup disk. So here you have to select the ISO file. The ISO file is saved somewhere in your hard disk in your PC. So click, click on the folder icon, add, then wherever it is saved, here it is saved. Yeah. So choose this one. Okay, then start. The interface will be very much same like the previous installation process. The installation process we have just finished in the other laptop. The same interface will be seen here in the VirtualBox. Yeah, see, the same interface is coming. Whatever we have done in the previous process, installing the Linux in the laptop, the same interface is coming within this box. So this we are doing virtually without making any changes to the hard disk. So here you can click install Ubuntu. Then you can leave those things, continue. This interface is very much same. So here it is showing erase disk and install Ubuntu. So this is the safest option. So you might think that erase disk and install Ubuntu, it will erase all the hard disks, all your Windows system will be gone and it will install Ubuntu. No. So erase disk, what it means, it will only erase the virtual hard disk that we have created. We have created a virtual disk of 10 GB in C drive. So that 10 GB will be cleared and within that 10 GB Ubuntu will be installed. So let's choose this one. Okay, no need to bother that this will affect my Windows system or like that, nothing. Erase disk and install Ubuntu, this is the safest. So now install. So it will do the partitioning and all. Continue.
Excuse me, sir. Which of the two is a better option to use, like the faster one or safest one?
Yes.
Which of these two options, like creating a virtual box or actually installing it, would be, better to use, like faster and safer to the PC?
So it depends on your depends on your use. So if you are going to use Linux for all your simulation, virtualization, a lot of works, then I recommend you better install it in your PC. The first method, okay? Because in VirtualBox there might be some limitations. I have not tested everything, but there might be some limitations in some cases. So it is always better to install the Linux system freshly in a computer system. You can use the VirtualBox and whatever you are going to do in your BT305 course, I think that will VirtualBox will support everything there also. Okay, you can use either two. It's up to you.
Okay.
One, I just a call. Hello. Good morning. हाँ सर. नहीं आपका तो वो ERP का असर करना पड़ेगा. या ERP वाला मतलब जैसे हम सैलरी देखने के लिए लीव अप्लाई करने के लिए जो पास वही देना पड़ेगा. तब तो इतना यूनिवर्सिटी से पहुंचे वही देना होता है. हाँ उसी से होगा सर. ठीक है सर. मैं एक बार बाद में आके देखूंगा. So now the interface is almost same like the previous method. You choose the time region. Then you choose the keyboard layout. Just as the previous section, you type your name, password.
Sir,
Yes.
like, is there
Yes.
any other like online option to use Ubuntu? Like, is there any other option?
Besides these two methods,
Yeah,
on
we can just use in online.
there may be why I haven't explored that option till now, so I'm not able to tell you in details. There might be some from online. So it will follow the same procedure like the previous one. It will copy the file, execute all the file, and it will get installed. Okay. So in the meantime, I will want to point out a few things. So before you are going to install Linux in a computer along with Windows, the first one is you have to see whether the PC is in GPT or MBR mode. From computer management, you go right click on the hard drive, choose properties, go to volume, you just check whether it is GPT or MBR. Then you create the bootable disks accordingly, GPT or MBR. Okay, otherwise it will not be compatible. This is the first thing. So after that, you need some space in the hard disk, and by space, I say that not the free space in the Windows system itself. You need free space which is not assigned to Windows. So for this, you can shrink one of your logical drive, or you can simply delete one of your logical drive and get some unallocated space for your Linux system. Okay, this is a prerequisite. Before doing, you have to do this also. And the best way is always to create this kind of free space and install Ubuntu and choose the first option, install Ubuntu alongside Windows Boot Manager. You can also do the manual partitioning, but the risk is there. Sometimes you may mistakenly delete some of the Windows file. Then what happens? Your computer will not boot. You have to do the everything from the scratch. You have to install Windows, then Linux, everything you have to start from zero. So best option is create a free space, unallocated space, installing Ubuntu or any other distro, Fedora or everything. You choose the option install along with Ubuntu, along with Windows Boot Manager. This is the safest option. Okay, and the second one is this virtual box. So whatever you going to do in a 305 course, I think both are compatible with the virtual box and the hard installation. So it will take some time. So in the meantime, if you have any queries or question, you can ask. If you have any doubts or any queries, you can ask till it finishes.
So what is the advantage of using Linux over Windows? Like,
What
why
is
do
that?
we need it as a part of this
Advantage
course?
using Linux over Windows.
Yes, sir, as part of this course.
Yeah, see, overall, Linux is free. The first is money. You have to buy Windows for a genuine copy of Windows. You have to pay money, and if you are using a pirated copy, there might be some problems, security issues, or some features might not work. But in case of Linux, it is free. You go to any Linux site, Debian, Ubuntu, you can download it for free and use it. So there is no scope of piracy in Linux. There is one thing. Second thing is security. Just 1 minute. I have official call. Just 1 minute. हेलो हाँ सर सर मैं एक काम करता हूँ मेरा ऑनलाइन क्लास चल रहा है वो खत्म करके मैं आके देता हूँ हाँ so in case of Linux so in case of Windows you have to have a good firewall you have to have a good antivirus system because most of the computers are now connected to internet so there is always a possibility of virus infection and all other things so you have to have a virus antivirus updated firewall, all these things. But in Linux, these things are not very essential. There are some viruses in Linux, but for most of the home users, they need not to bother about all these security systems in Linux because in Linux, all the files are not executable files. First, they are compiled, then only they are executable. In Windows system, the files are already in executable form. There, so the chances of a file being gone corrupted in Windows is very higher compared to Linux system. Okay, so this is the overall and regarding your course, so you are going to use some tools in Linux which are very powerful bioinformatics tools and one of them is Gromex. So if you have to use Gromex, you must have Linux because Gromex is not supported in Windows system. It's a simulation system and there you can do a lot. I think sir will take a class regarding the Gromex. So Gromex will be used solely on Linux system. And there are several other bioinformatics tools which are absolutely free to use with Linux system. Okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Let's see. So it is installing. Any other question? Any other queries? Now you can download the Ubuntu from their Ubuntu site or you can also download it from the repository of IITG. So you are now outside IITG campus, so you will not be able to access the internet directly. You have to use VPN. I think most of you know how to use the VPN. So through VPN, you can use the intranet, and from there you can download the Ubuntu, Fedora, all those things are available. So there you can download everything using the VPN, connect to the IITG intranet, go to software repository, there you will get Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian, everything is there. So there also you can download it. Okay.
So another question.
Yeah.
You said we needed to download some tools for that only works on Ubuntu. So my question was that since we freed only like any software if we download on Ubuntu, will
Yeah.
that require separate unallocated space? Like,
No, 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 no.
oh,
After you have installed the full Ubuntu system,
hmm,
it's just like Windows. You install the Windows 10 system, you need video VLC media player, you download the video VLC media player, you simply download it by clicking next, next, next. So for that you don't have to bother about any space or anything else. It requires very much less space. So just like in Linux also, you do the full installation of Linux and after doing it, whatever you need. Suppose you need the Gromex software. You download the Gromex software and then you have to install it within the Linux system. So for Linux, for when you are installing GOMX, you don't have to bother about unallocated, allocated space, all these things. Okay. So the whole space is allocated to Linux, and within that system, whatever Linux supports, you can install.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Installation is complete. You need to restart your computer in order to use the new installation. Just like the previous method, you click restart now. It will give you the same feeling. Yes. Hello. Ah, yes, sir. Hello, class में घुसा है इसलिए ठीक है. So now it is being restarted. Please remove installation medium and press enter. Same thing. You press enter. It will now be good. Yeah. So just as you have installed the Linux in a PC, so here also same interface will come. You give the password. So now we have a Ubuntu system running inside the Windows, just like in a PC. Okay. So from where you can do everything, just like the installation in laptop. Okay. Same as that. Only thing is we are doing it virtually, but we are getting the same experience. Okay. So it is installed. You can do all the setting, network setting. You can browse within this. Okay. I can change the view. You can go to full screen mode. You can go to scaled mode. So there are different options. You can scale the size, everything you can do here. Okay. So suppose you want to run some command. Hello. हाँ. तलब तक तो सामने बहुत क्लास से देख. So this is the terminal. Same way you can use it on the laptop. Here also you can give command. You can go to plus everything you can do inside this virtual box. So without actually installing the Linux system. And I think whatever you are going to do in this course, I think all the things can be done here also. Okay. And whenever you want to leave the system, you just go here. Just you shut down your computer. Here are the options: log out, suspend, shut down. You shut down, click shut down to shut down, just like a normal computer. Okay. And here it is a Linux demo. I have given a name Linux demo for this particular installation. So the next time you want to start the same system, it is already installed. So what you have to do is just have to click start. Choose this one, click start, it will automatically start. Now installation is already done, so it will start from the login screen. Yeah. So now simply have to put the password and login. Yeah. So you can run each and every command here, just like the hard installation. Okay. So you can feel, you can get a feel of the Linux without installing it actually, and you are using it within the Windows environment without having to bother about your whether the Linux system will do any bad effect on your Windows system or not. You can do everything within this virtual box. So you have to download the virtual box from Oracle site. You just Google it, you will get, download it. You can install it very easily, and you can use it Linux. And VirtualBox is also available for Mac OS also. So if you are using a MacBook, so you can also download VirtualBox. So both Windows and Mac support the VirtualBox, and the interface will be very much the same. Again you go, shut down. This virtual machine is now shut down. So I think that is all from my side. So if you have any queries and doubts, you can ask now. Hello? If you have any doubts, any queries, you can ask. Anyone? Any doubts? So another thing I want to ask you. So any one of you are using the VPN system for connecting to the IITZ internet? Any one of you is using the VPN system to connect to the IITZ internet? One of you can unmute and answer.
No, sir. So most of the students are at home.
So yeah, most of the students are at home. So from home you cannot access the IITZ local net intranet. Okay. So are you using the VPN service to connect to the internet now?
No, sir, we haven't required it yet.
You haven't required it, but at some point of time for this course you might require. Okay. At some point of time you might require. So for that I will share a Word file with you. Okay. Using that Word file, you can connect to the IITZ intranet site. So you are 2019 batch. Your 2019 batch?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I will send you a mail with two files. So one file will describe you how to use the VPN service to connect to the internet services. Those internets like the software repository. So from outside IITZ you cannot access the software repository, but if you use the VPN service you can access everything. Okay. So I will share you that file, and another file is there how to connect to particular systems in IITZ for running your simulations and all these things. Okay, I'll share two files with you. Okay, in your mail. So from my side it is done. I have shown you the two methods of installing Linux along with Windows system and using Linux within Windows using VirtualBox. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me now, or you can mail me later also. But if you ask me now, it will be better. Anyone? Any doubt? No doubt. Clear? Some of you might be using MacBook also. How many of you are using MacBook? Apple? Hello? One, two. So this VirtualBox is also available for if you go to the VirtualBox website. So you will see that you have the option to download it for Windows. You have the option for download for OS X, that is Mac OS. So you can use a VirtualBox in the inside Mac OS, just the same in the Windows system.
But sir, isn't the Macintosh Unix based? So do we really need to install Linux on Mac as well?
Huh? Yes,
But I think Mac is Unix based, right? It
Mac,
is not
Mac
like
is,
Windows. So
yeah, Mac is Unix based, and in Mac you can also run some commands which are very similar to Unix. And Gromex and other tools are also available for Mac OS also. So without installing Linux in Mac, you can run those command line systems like Gromex. So Gromex will be extensively used in this class. Okay, so I will take some class regarding the Gromex. So Gromex you can use, I think, in the Mac system without Linux. It is also available for Gromex. Only for Windows it is not available, the Gromex system. So in Mac, I think it will not be a very big issue. Okay.
okay, thank you.
And if you want to install Linux along with Mac, it is also possible. Basics are same, just few things are different. Any other queries? Anything else?
No, sir.
No. Then I think I can leave if you don't have any doubts, or if you face any problem installing Linux or VirtualBox, you can directly mail me. Just check our website there. You will get my email ID cknath@iitz.ac.in. Okay. You can mail me any problem you face to me.
That's great. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, sir.
All right, okay. So if please try to do it yourself, and if you have any doubts, you can contact Chandan.
Yes, sir. They can mail.
Okay, and we will discuss the session 2 of the lab session in the following two lectures scheduled on Monday and Tuesday. Okay. Uh, if you have no doubts and if everything is clear, Chandana, is there anything more that you want to add?
No, sir.
So you have finished, right? Okay. In that case, we can wind up the session for today.
Okay, sir. Fine. I can leave, sir.
If anybody has any doubts, they can ask the question now. Otherwise, we will wind up the session for today. Thank you so
Okay,
much
sir.
for joining in.
Okay, sir. So, students, if you have any queries, please ask. Yeah, someone has raised their hand. Himanshu. Yes, Himanshu.
Sir, by mis
Yes, Himanshu.
sir, by mistake I have raised my hand.
Yeah, your voice is not coming very well. Yes.
Sir, by mistake, sir.
Okay, okay. By mistake, you have raised your hand. Okay, fine, 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 fine. So I think there is no doubt from any students. If you face any problem regarding Linux installation dual boot, you can directly mail to me. And it will be better if you send a screenshot. If you send a mail describing your problem with a screenshot, it will be better for me to understand and give you a solution. Okay.
Sir, what is your email?
Email is cknut@iitg.ac.in. cknut.
And then please share it in the chat box. So that it is.
Yes, sir.
Please share it in the chat box. Chat box.
Your voice is not
Please
coming so
write
well,
it in
sir.
the chat box. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Please
I'll
write
just
it in the chat box.
I will write it in the chat box. My email ID. So this is my email ID. I have written in the chat box. You can write to me directly. Okay. And also
And
I'll
always, I'm repeating the suggestion that was made by Chandranath. Please also attach a screenshot so that the problem can be diagnosed easily.
yes, sir.
So that
Yes.
is,
Screenshot will be helpful,
take
sir.
care of that. Yeah. Always
Yes.
make sure that you are taking a screenshot of your issue and then attaching that screenshot along with your query. Okay.
Screenshot will be helpful, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So that's it from my side. I will send them two files, sir, regarding the VPN and connecting to the local machines here. I will send.
Chandranath, please send a copy to me as well.
Yeah, yeah. I will keep in the CC also, sir. Okay,
Okay.
sir. So
Thank you so
that's
much.
it. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank
You
you
can
so
wind.
much. So we are winding up the session. If you don't have any questions, we are winding up the session now. If you have any questions, you can write to Chandranath for support. And make sure that Linux is installed in your computer in next 3 to 4 days. All right. Thank you.
Okay, sir. We can wind up now, sir.
Yeah, sure. Please.
Yeah, fine, sir. Thank you. Thank you all.